Alrighty, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Dark Souls. When we last left off, we had made our way through the Darkroot Garden and gotten ourselves into the Darkroot Basin. For this episode, we're going to continue our way through the Darkroot Basin, fight a couple important mobs and enemies that are coming right up. Hopefully get to a new covenant that's just around this area, and maybe, if we're lucky, even fight a new boss. So, starting off from our bonfire, which is set right next to the Drake Valley, we're going to exit back into the Darkroot Basin, and we're going to find this item here that I forgot last episode. So, that item right there is the Grass Crest Shield, which is a fantastic shield. You know, it's got pretty good stats. It's got, you know, good fire and lightning defense. All right magic defense, and its stability could definitely use some improvement. But another major factor against it is the fact that it only has 95% physical, not full 100% physical. So you'd think, well, if it only has 95% physical, not great magic, and not great stability, why is it such a good shield? Well, it's mostly due to the fact that the Grass Crest Shield has a special effect on it. That being, it speeds up stamina recovery. And that is amazing in this game. So basically, when you're running around or rolling, all of that will consume stamina, and you know it has its recovery rate of about, let's say, a pretty decent speed. It's not too bad, but equipping the Grass Crest Shield, and then it goes way up, like by quite a significant amount. So it's actually fairly good, despite the fact that it's not a full physical shield. If you're like late game and you're pretty confident that you can, you know, just do things without using a shield, you can honestly just like equip it to your back, or equip it and then just two-hand your weapon and just use it for the extra stamina recovery. Pretty decent strategy. Unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that, simply because that would be giving us heavy rolls. We are on medium rolls right now, and equipping this shield will make us... Oh, no, actually, we still mid-roll. Alright, well, never mind. I guess actually we will just have this shield on our back for now, and we'll just keep going with the Dark Knight Greatsword. Huh. Thought for certain this shield was going to make me fat roll. Well, that's a pleasant surprise. So, coming up from the bonfire we were at, we're going to be heading in this area towards the tower you can see just up in front of us, which is the Undead Burg over there. And as you can see, there's an item over there. However, we want to be careful in this upcoming area for two reasons. First and foremost being, you see that blue guy over there? That's a crystal golem. These are some pretty powerful enemies that can hit you pretty hard. You want to be careful of them. And just beyond them, you can't see it right now, or maybe you can. Ah, yes. So that all the way over there in the distance, that moving figure, that is a Hydra. These guys are a pain in the ass to deal with. They sit themselves in an area of water that you can't walk upon without dying, and they shoot giant water balls at you, which makes them super annoying to deal with. Now, we've got this crystal golem up here. He's going to swing. Now we want... Now, thankfully for me, these guys aren't too difficult to deal with, just because the Black Knight Greatsword is just so powerful. But, if you are going up against these guys with a weaker weapon, just do be careful. When they attack, Sometimes they'll layer crystals onto their attacks, which can increase their range and damage. And they also have a jump attack where they... Well, they don't jump, but they do that ground pound attack. And if they charge it up, it'll spread this, like, AoE effect with a bunch of crystals. So you do want to be careful of that. Like, he was about to do it right there, but I just killed him before he could. So, want to be careful as we approach, because the Hydra is going to aggro on us soon, and when it does, it's going to start firing those water balls at us. So we want to make sure that we're staying in this more forested spot right here, so that the trees will block the water bullets for us. Being fully honest, we actually want to switch to a full shield, just because the water bullets deal physical damage, which means a full shield can thankfully fully block it. So we're going to be approaching, and now as you can see, yeah, those water balls are super annoying to deal with. And he's got quite the range in terms of aggro. So, oh, yeah, you saw right there. Added crystals to his attacks, makes it deal more damage and increases the range. So they can be kind of tricky to deal with. Thankfully the Hydra also does damage to them, but with its water bullets, but it's still very... Heal myself. As you saw there, full physical shield fully blocks it. Ooh. And I accidentally dodge rolled into that. That was not a good idea. So we're just going to run at this dude, keeping our shield up. We want to be very careful. As you can see, the water's You want to attack this guy, you gotta wait until he attacks first. It is super annoying. Damn. What in the... There we go. Oh. Hits on him. There we go, got him. I'm just gonna switch to just blocking with the sword, just because switching between shield and sword, I should say, it's just way too slow trying to attack him. Oh, I'm right on the line. Alright, come on, guy. This last head is the most annoying to get. Come on, buddy. Get me where I can get you. Jesus. I'm not cooperating right now. Okay. Nope. Shipload. And we're just gonna use this. Which is not gonna get us anywhere anyway fast. This is one reason why I really hate these guys. They're just extremely annoying to deal with. Come on, big guy. There we go. Alrighty. So, by beating him, we get a dragon scale and a dust crown. So, the dust crown ring, it's good for like magic or cleric builds because it grants extra attunement, which lets you cast more magic or even equip more spells, but at the cost of your HP, which is pretty sucky. Honestly, if you're using a magic build though, you don't have too much need for high HP, so pretty fair trade, I'd say. Otherwise, we also got our hands on a dragon scale, which just reinforces dragon weapons. So like the dragon scale sword that we got earlier from cutting off the red kite dragon's tail. That is what gives us. It's what allows us to upgrade those kinds of weapons, and any other weapons we might receive from other dragon bosses. So, as you can see right there, there's a big ladder that is just going to take us to the top of that waterfall. We're not going to go up there just yet. Instead, we are going to quit the game. And now we're going to reload the game. And in doing so, we'll get enemies to spawn just down this way. So, also should take to mention, you see how we're very slow right now in this sort of high water? It's slowing us down, even though we can roll normally. It's just a huge mire and just a pain in the ass. Well, if you will remember that rusty iron ring we got when we went back to the asylum, improves balance on poor footing. Well, this counts as poor footing, so by putting it on, we now run at normal speed. If you're wondering if this is the only it gets used for, no. There's an area that is 1,000 times worse that this ring is an absolute necessity for. So, gonna make our way down on this way. And if you look up ahead, you can see a golden golem. Now, when this guy isn't normally here. The only way that he spawns is if you beat the Hydra and then reload the world, which you can do by resting at a bonfire or by quitting the game and then re-entering the game. That also reloads the world, and that'll cause this guy to spawn here. So it's just a thing you can do out of convenience. Same thing for like Lautrec's ring. If you decide to kick him off the cliff face, and the item just drops with him, you can either sit at the bonfire or you can quit and reload the game, and that will cause his ring to just respawn back where it should be and allow you to pick it up. That being said, we are going to head for this dude because golden golems are very important. And thankfully, due to our big old sword, they're not too bad to beat. And as you can see, by beating him, this lady spawns.
So, 'tis thou who rescueth me. Most gracious, I am deeply obliged. I am Dusk of Ulasil. I cometh from an age long before thine. I cannot stay here for long. So, before I disappear, allow me to ask one thing. My home, Ulasil, is the home of ancient sorceries. My hope is to pass this profound knowledge to thee, with thine approval. Would this be of assistance to thee?
Yes, it would.
My heartfelt thanks. I am pleased beyond words. Then I shout, engrave my signature. Thou art in need. Pray summon me from my signature. It seems that my time is done. May the great flames guide thee.
So yeah, that is Dusk from Ulasil. She's a character that will serve as another kind of magic merchant for sorcery builds and like. And she's also an important character in a DLC once we get to it. But as you saw, she was trapped inside of that golden golem, which basically anytime you see a golden golem in this game, there's only two. There's that one, and then there's one in a later on area. But basically, golden golems will have people trapped inside them that you can free by killing the golem. Now, I'm not sure if it's just only golden golems that can capture people, or if all golems can, and a golem that is gold is a sign that they've just captured someone, because in certain items descriptions, it's implied that the golems, who are crafted by a certain boss enemy that we'll encounter later on in the game, a guy called Seath, it is implied that Seath created the golems to help him capture people for his experiments. Now, the blue golems we find plenty of, but there's only two golden ones. So either A, that means that Seath, the pale drake who betrayed his kind, and now just grabs up women for his experiments, either A, made those two golems specifically for capture and the rest to defend the golden golems, or all the golems are normally blue, but when they capture someone, they turn gold as a sort of sign that they have a captured subject inside of them. I've never really been sure on which, and there's never really been any confirmation about it or anything anywhere that I've seen. May just be a fun gameplay mechanic, probably not too important, but I always just thought that was a little interesting thing to think about. Anyways, we're gonna make our way up this ladder now, climbing up along the side of the waterfall. Although, actually, before we do this, we are going to use a homeward bone, just so that we can spend these souls that we have, because the area we're about to go into has some dangerous guys, and we just get rid of them. Don't want to risk our souls when we're taking those guys on. So, I'm going to level up. I'm going to continue leveling up endurance, just to try and increase my weight limit a little more. If I can get rid of that, and then perhaps put the elite armor on. I'm still mid-rolling. And what about the elite knight helmet? Nope, that's fat roll. Can I put the elite knight gauntlets on? Yes, I can. And what about night leggings? Nope, that's fat roll. What about night leggings? Nope, that's also fat roll. Wisdom resist, blade resist. Nope. That's fine. Elite knight guns. Alright, I think. Well, one sec. See if that works. Nope. Alright. There we go. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. Alrighty. So, from here, we're gonna head back out. Or, well, actually, let's use this as well. Just so that we can level. Oh, nope, don't even have enough. Oh, that was a waste. Alrighty. Now, we're going to make our way back up to where we just were for two things. Nope, that's also that roll. I don't know. Running along. And first, we are going to take care of these golems again, just to get them out of our way. Ow. Wrong button. Did not mean to make the heavy attack. Oh. I am just butterfingering that. Fat fingering even. Yep, you as well, buddy. Yo. As well. Oh. And misjudged. Oh, ow. Yep, you see there's that AoE attack. Ah, I'm sucking so bad right now. Alrighty, so, if we head on this way, you'll see, hey, there's a summon sign over here now. Is there a boss or something here still left to do? Well, no, this is just Dusk from Ulasil, and this is how we summon her so that she can do her merchant things. Because, as she stated earlier, she is from a time long before ours, so we're just summoning her from the past. Time travel merchant.
I am Dusk of Ulasil. It is an honor to see thee again. I shall follow thy wish.
So, we're going to learn her Jester, which is the proper bow, pretty nice. And then we're going to look over some of her items. So, she's got sorceries. These ones, despite being sorceries, they have sort of like a holy look to them, you know, these golden lights amongst the stuff. Sorcery, and that's because these are sorceries of Ulasil. Ulasil is a human settlement, and despite having a lot of sorceries, they are actually also an incredibly religious people. So a lot of their sorceries look like more like miracles than they are, you know, magic, but they are actually magic, which I think is a cool aesthetic thing. Anyways, so as for what she's selling, she is selling Hidden Body, which is just basically turning yourself invisible. Only really useful for like PvP. Cast Light, it's basically like a torch, but magic instead of wielding an actual torch. Repair, repairs durability of your weapons and armor and stuff, so instead of spending souls, you spend mana or a spell slot or whatever it's called. Chameleon, it just disguises you as something around yourself, so it can disguise you as like a pot or a bush or a tree or just something in the environment. Basically a way to play hide and seek. And Hidden Weapon, it turns your weapon invisible, so that way you're again, it's another mostly PvP thing, and it makes it so that your enemies have a harder time telling what you're fighting them with. Aside from that, we can also talk to her.
For a very long time, I was trapped within the crystal golem. From my home I was taken, banished to a plane of distortion. It was there that thou came to my rescue, long after I had relinquished all hope. So gleeful was I. My faith reneweth. The sorceries of Ulysses differ from the magic of Unmage. It is difficult to explain. Ulysses' sorceries are, what doth one say? They're somewhat of an approximation. Thine sorceries are more straightforward, negating all but thyself. Dost thou not find some fascination in these discrepancies? The sorceries of it is
Alright.
thine.
So yeah, Ulysses' sorceries are a bit different than just regular sorceries. That's why they have a bit of a different aesthetic. Honestly, though, I think it's pretty cool. Aside
If
from...
thou art in need, pray summon me again. I wish to be of assistance. May the flames guide thee.
So yeah, she's just a cool time-traveling merchant, which, yes, time-traveling is, frankly, a fairly big aspect in this game, concerning DLCs and later stuff that happens. And honestly, it's surprising just how perfectly well it flows in through the story. It's pretty great. So, after talking with Dusk over there, we're going to make our way up this little path here, and up towards this tower. And this is a shortcut back to the Undead Burg. Instead of walking all the way around, you know, going over through Andres, getting all the way across the bridge and all over everything, this is just a faster way back. But, as you can see right there, there's a dude in that tower. And he's just waiting for me. Let's go meet him, shall we? This is Havel the Rock. If tough son of a bitch could be embodied in one person, it would be this guy. Ooh, and he got me. Yeah, that's to be expected. Havel is a pretty powerful dude. So yeah, that's Havel the Rock, one of the more prominent characters in the Soul series. He's got some sick-looking armor. It is made from dead dragon scales, and he's wielding a dragon's tooth for a weapon. Yeah, this guy's pretty friggin' awesome. And we are not human anymore. Yay. Ah, we'll fix that later. So, we are going to head back and try to beat Havel once again. Now, Havel, frankly, has a lot of lore surrounding him. He is involved in and is perhaps the main instigator of a little event known as the Plot Against the Gods. Basically, there is a point in time in which a group of individuals concerning mostly mortals, Havel himself, most likely anyway, and even perhaps some lesser known and long forgotten gods, had a sort of rebellious plot against Gwyn and his order, and it's known as the Plot Against the Gods. It's not something that's really openly displayed. The only way you really hear about it is through item description and environmental storytelling, basically the placement of certain things wherever you find them and the fact that they are described to be involved in the plot. The plot, obviously, as you can probably tell, failed spectacularly, and a lot of people ended up either dead or, like Havel over here, imprisoned, because Havel is just too strong to die. So, I'm gonna give this another try. Honestly, for Havel, he is incredibly difficult to beat, just because his stone armor has such high defenses, including an incredible amount of poise, and his stone shield blocks basically everything. And his attack is so strong that he can kill you in very nearly one hit. Oh, got me. Yeah. With the level I am at right now, Havel is very capable of just one-shotting me. Honestly, not the worst thing. There are more difficult challenges. And as you saw, he will pretty frequently switch from his sword and shield to just two-handing his sword. And thankfully, his sword doesn't have anywhere near the defenses that his shield has. His shield has so much poise defense build that it is basically impossible to break his stance when he has the shield up. But his sword has pretty pitiful poise protection. So it's a lot easier, or stamina guard even. Well, kind of both, actually. So thankfully it's a lot easier to break his stance and stagger him for a bit when he's just wielding the sword. You have to be careful, though, because when he's two-handing that sword, that's when he kills you in one shot, no matter what you do. Oh. Well, thank you for waiting so good. I think he let me get my souls back because he knew it wasn't going to make a difference. Alrighty, once more. God. I'm still way too used to the high-speed, super aggressive combat styles that you do in stuff like Elden Ring. Gotta remember how to be more patient in this game. Of course, if I really wanted to, I could just switch to a shield and the Dark Knight regular sword. But I'm interested in trying to get it this way. The challenge excites me. Run on by again. Oh, oh god. Alright, come on, buddy. Oh god. Oh, God. Almost got me. Just not really sure why I'm doing. Doesn't really make much of a difference, but mostly just helps me feel more confident. Ooh, almost got me there. There we go. Third time's the charm. And he gives us a pretty hefty amount of souls, too. And he drops Havel's Ring. Havel's Ring's a pretty awesome item. It boosts your maximum equipment load by quite a bit. So if we put that on, we put this on, we put this on. Yeah, I'm still mid-rolling. Hell, I think I'm even, like, light rolling almost. So yeah, it boosts your equipment load by quite the amount, and it just makes it way easier to equip more stuffs to get more exact on your build, and you don't have to worry about upgrading your equip load as much. Although, in situations where you have to switch to a different ring, it does kind of cripple your build, so don't become excessively reliant on the ring, especially in future areas that will be extremely annoying to get through. Anyways, so going back to the ring a little bit, if we take a look at its description, you'd see it says that this ring was named after Havel the Rock, and that Lord Gwyn, it was a Havel the Rock even, was Lord Gwyn's old battlefield compatriot. And as you'll see below, it says Havel's men wore the ring to express faith in their leader and to carry a heavier load. So that has some interesting implications. If we look back at our keys and we look at the basement key, it says here that it opens a narrow passage leading below at the far face of the Great Bridge in the Undead Berg. Or, sorry, no, the Watchtower basement key even. The key to the basement of the Watchtower, which is this place. It says here, the basement of the Watchtower forms a stone cell. There are rumors of a hero turned hollow who was locked away by a dear friend, for his own good, of course. So, this key seems to imply that Havel was basically trapped down here. Havel is so powerful they couldn't get him into a proper cell. So instead they basically had to trap him down here and lock him in the bottom layer of this giant stone tower. However, as we just saw with this ring here, this seems to imply that that might not have been Havel, because it's Havel's men who wear this ring, not Havel himself. So what's going on? Well, if you've ever watched Hawkshaw's video on the plot against the gods in particular, they explain a fairly common, well, perhaps not common, but a theory that I also support, that the guy who was down in here was not Havel himself, but rather a follower of Havel who came down in here to take his place and pretend to be Havel so that Havel could escape after the plot against the gods went awry. Now, if you'll remember in, I believe, episode 2, when we were venturing, or no, even episode 3 even, when we were venturing through the Undead Berg and that area where we were fighting the Black Knight with just the regular sword, we saw that there was like a collapsed passageway that seemed to lead into this watchtower. That, along with this ring and other things that will be coming up in the future, would seem to imply that that when the plot against the gods went awry, Havel got trapped in here by being guided through that bridge and then having the bridge destroyed behind him, and he was just sealed in here. Of course, considering the fact that there's a door right there and there's just a door up above, doesn't seem to be the most secure place. So that ring implied, and it, you know, considering where we found the basement key and it wasn't too hard to find, that would seem to imply that somebody broke in here at some point and released Havel, and then just took his place as a sort of way to disguise the fact that Havel escaped. Which, if you take a look at that key again, there are rumors of a hero turned hollow who was locked away by a dear friend. So in this plot against the gods, these guys were basically rebels rebelling against Gwyn's order. Obviously they failed, but from the perspective of some, these guys would still be heroes. And for there to have been a hero who was locked in here by a dear friend, well, if he was one of Havel's men and so devoted that he was even willing to permanently take Havel's place, it would make sense for Havel to be the dear friend who locked this guy away, instead of it being like Gwyn or somebody who locked Havel down here. Especially considering the fact that one of the main reasons Havel rebelled was because Seath. Havel and Seath are major enemies, and for Seath to have such status and power in Gwyn's order, well, Gwyn was either a shitty friend who didn't pay attention to his own friend's beef with Seath, which honestly wouldn't be the most surprising thing, or they were just battlefield compatriots, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're friends. They might be brothers in arms on the battlefield, but that doesn't mean they have to like each other. And that during the plot against the god, which would especially make more sense considering the fact that Havel either led or was a part of the plot against the gods, again suggesting that they weren't as close as some people might like to believe. So it would make sense for, instead of this being Havel down here locked away by Gwyn, Havel was tricked into coming into here and was trapped in here, And then one of Havel's own men came in here to take his place, and Havel locked locked that man away as a dear, considering the man who gave his literal life and freedom to free Havel as a dear friend. I may not be explaining it the best. If you want a more thorough and complete explanation, especially considering the fact that we haven't gotten to everything concerning the plot against the gods, again, go watch Hawkshaw's video about the old forgotten blacksmith and the plot against the gods. All of that is in one very cool video that does a lot better job at explaining this lore than I probably am right now, considering we're still missing some context. Anyways, with all of that done, we are going to head back up towards that ladder that we were just at earlier, dealing with these golems once again. Blue Titanite chunk. Got two of these guys on me. That's not the best, but I deal with them like a boss. So, we're gonna make our way back up that waterfall. And we're going to climb up this ladder. Alright, now we're going to cross this frankly rusty old bridge that could use some repairs. Coming around this side on this precarious pathway. I'm going to go over here and get this item. It's another soul item. We're going to make our way up another ladder. And now we're back up in the Darkroot Garden, which, you might be wondering, hey wait, how does that make sense? Why are we back in the Darkroot Garden? Can we just leave there? Well, the Darkroot Garden is split into two main areas. This area here, and the initial area we were in at the start. And they're separated by that gate we saw by the hidden bonfire. The one that I said that required the Crest of Artorias to open. This is just an alternate way to get around that gate and get into this area if you don't want to waste souls buying that crest. So, we'll make our way this way. Being careful watching the ground, just because we are by a cliff face. Killing all the tree guys along the way, making sure we don't die. That was close. Get more of the moss clumps. And over here we have the Eastern set. Honestly, fairly cool armor. Not my favorite. My favorite is just this set that we're currently wearing right now. But it's a fairly cool set nonetheless. Now, and we also will be meeting a guy fairly soon who does wear that armor too. Oh, Jesus. Spooky there. More tree guys, or bush people, or whatever you want to call them. And I misjudged. My sense of just distance in this game is so terrible. It needs so much work. Come here. Oh, that's what I get for not playing this game for so long. Die, tree. Alright. Making our way this way. Glowing plant. Make our way this way. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So, do be very careful. This area is where that covenant is that I was talking about earlier, but it's also just surrounded by a bunch of dudes who will attack you on sight. Want to try and get around them. Don't bother fighting them. You're not going to make it. Run over here quickly and talk to this cat lady.
That thou art new, thou fared well to find me. But cometh thee not for the grave of Sir Artorius? My advice true. Forget this. The legend of Artorius art none but a fabrication. Traversing the dark. 'Tis but a fairy tale. Have thine own respect. Go not yonder knocking for nothing, I say. Well, indeed, thou art a strange one. Nevertheless, I feel some liking for thee. I'm Alvina of the Darkroot Wood. I command a clan of hunters who track down defilers of the forest graves. What dost thou say? Wilt thou not join us? Oh, yes, I believe we would suit thee well.
So yeah, this is that covenant that I was talking about earlier. They're the forest hunters. Main reason why you want to join these guys is because all those NPCs out there that were chasing and attacking me, yeah, so long as you're part of this covenant, those guys won't attack you anymore. Which is very, very nice.
I am very glad. And now thou art one of us. Let us establish a covenant.
Join the covenant. Alrighty.
And here taketh this ring.
Cat Covenant Ring.
If thou wearest that ring, it allows for thine summoning. If mine senses reveal intruders, then I will summon thee. Fend them off, sir. I beseech only this. I shall send others who will, by their honor, work tirelessly with thee. Thou shalt receive great reward, and whatsoever we shall pillage will be thine own. A true agreement, not so? But thou must heed the golden rule. The clan is thine own family. To thine kinsmen forever stay true. Darest not in any attempt to double cross. Have no doubt, such wretchedness never will we tolerate.
So anyways, this covenant, which is the Forest Hunters, it's another multiplayer covenant, like pretty much every covenant is, but the main thing about this one is that this is basically an area defense covenant. This isn't the only time this kind of covenant will be used in this series. There's another Forest Hunters covenant, I believe, in Dark Souls 3, and then there's also the Aldrich Faithful in Dark Souls 3. And basically, the idea is this area, this forest, is sacred for one reason or another, and because of that, these people here exist to defend it. Now, if you become a part of this covenant, then whenever, if you're online and you're wearing that ring she gave you, this Cat Covenant ring, if you're online and wearing that ring, and a random player just enters this forest in their world, then there is a chance that you will be summoned, you and other players and even these NPCs will be summoned to basically just attack and kill that player for intruding upon this land. The only way to spare yourself from that fate is by either playing offline, like we are, or like I am, or by being a member of this covenant. Then you're allowed to come and go as you please. Of course, if you're not a member of this covenant, you'll still be attacked by these guys, but again, if you join this covenant and stick with it, then you'll be able to come and go as you please. So it's fairly important that you get this covenant, especially because there's a boss fight right through this area, and coming through this area while being hunted down by all these NPCs is a major pain in the ass. So just join this covenant for now. Now, over here, we just got the Eastern set, and now we've got a guy who's wearing the Eastern armor set.
I've heard all about you. I'm Shiva of the East, captain of the brigade. Let's teach you the clan basics now, as there's no time to chat in the midst of fighting. Except there is little in the form of rules, you hear. Fight and hunt as you are. Whoever's fastest gets to play. That's the way we do it. Only, don't forget what Alvina said. Traitors aren't given a second chance, for any reason. That's about it today. Don't worry. It's a good old time, isn't it? Great to have you with us. Good hunting to you.
So yeah, this is Shiva, who's basically the leader of this group, aside from Alvina herself. He's got his armor set does look cool, but again, I like this armor set better. Pretty cool dude, pretty powerful in his own right, and as you might notice behind him, he's got a ninja friend. Yeah, just a legit ninja in Dark Souls. Pretty awesome.
Don't worry now. You'll be called in soon enough. Hunters with patience score the best kills. Don't worry, you'll hunt.
Try to talk to him. And like a true ninja, says absolutely nothing.
Ah, did you notice that one? Sharp eyes? He is one of the clan from the east, like myself. Always slinking in the shadows. But he is a tough one. You will see what I mean.
So yeah, basically, Dark Souls 1 has like knights, sorcerers, clerics, and whatnot, and then we've got basically a samurai and a ninja. Pretty cool. Now, since this area is more or less safe for us to traverse through, first we're going to head back this way, cross this little bridge, and get item that we're looking for. Here we go. Here we have the stone armor set. Now this is, like I said in the last episode, this is basically like a proto-Havel set. It's not as powerful as Havel set is, I don't believe, but it also doesn't weigh as much. So it's like a partial Havel set. Aside from that, going this way, you can see down there. So down there, that is the door to the boss fight of this area. Now, we're not going to do that right now. We're going to make our way back towards the bonfire. Oh, yeah. There's also these mushroom guys over here. Be very careful. They look kind of dopey, but man, do they hit like a truck. At least the bigger ones do. These smaller ones are fine. Just gonna ignore them for now, though. Otherwise, as for where this area is, down over there, that's where we were earlier when we just climbed up the side of the waterfall. Basically, we had the choice of going left or right. Going left, that's Alvina's area. Going right just leads to this area. So, heading back this way, though. We'll come upon this strange door. And as you might notice, yeah, this is the door that needs the Crest of Artorias. So yeah, this entire area is just on the other side of where that initial bonfire was. So, in the interest of getting back there, we're going to just use a homeward bone. And we're going to make our way back towards that initial bonfire. Ooh, God, we are running pretty late on time. Alright, so, in the interest of saving time, we're probably just going to end the episode right here. The bonfire I'm talking about, it's just the first bonfire that you get to when you enter the Darkroot Garden. It's literally just out that way, not too far from here. But in the interest of time, we're just going to cut the episode here. So, next time, we're going to be starting at the bonfire again at the very beginning of the Darkroot Garden. We're going to head back to Andre and buy that Crest of Artorias, as well as trying to upgrade some of our weapons, just because that'll help bolster our stuff. Then we're going to make our way back into the Darkroot Garden, and then we're going to make our way towards that boss door and take on the boss of the area. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and thanks for following along. Hope to see you guys again next time. Peace.